So something is happening with Starbucks stock, and we need to discuss whether or not this new change that they're seeing is going to save the business from all the troubles that they have been seeing, and whether or not right now, with what's happened to the stock recently, is a good time or maybe not such a good time to be adding more of Starbucks to your portfolio. So Starbucks stock, which is a stock that we've discussed a number of times on this channel, has been having a really hard time. I think actually we last discussed that this may be a stock worth looking into in July. But year to date, not including what happened on Tuesday, which of course we will cover in this video, the stock is down by about 20%. And over a 5-year period, the stock hasn't really done anything. It's pretty much in the same position now as it was 5 years ago. So investors that put in money 5 years ago hoping for a capital appreciation on their position haven't really seen that. And a 1-year time period after the event on Tuesday, it is now pretty much breaking even. But on Tuesday, wow, it went crazy. It really did. It was up by 24.5% in one trading day. That is a pretty big jump. Why did this happen? Well, it's actually really simple. Starbucks basically got themselves a new CEO. Their new CEO is Brian Niccol, and this is a guy that has come straight from Chipotle. And he's now joined Starbucks. And this guy is very successful. In my opinion, he is a really good CEO. And like I said, he's previously been at Chipotle and has been since 2018, I believe, around that time. And he's actually driven a lot of the company's success at Chipotle. And the stock has been up 700% since he was a CEO till now, the time that he's left Chipotle, which is obviously not bad at all. Anyway, this news was clearly very well received by the market. It's really clear that a good CEO, a good leadership goes far. And in my opinion, so it should. This is something that I personally take very seriously when thinking about what positions I want in my own portfolio. I really want a driven, motivated, innovative, decisive leader, CEO. And for a lot of people, for a lot of the market, they are very excited about this change that they are now seeing at Starbucks. And I think this has made many people say, hang on a minute, this is a really good catalyst. This could actually indicate to me that this is a turning point for the company, which obviously, like we've been speaking about, you look at the stock, you look at the company, they have been having a pretty hard time. And interestingly, apparently the previous Starbucks CEO, and I don't know if this is true, but apparently he wouldn't work past 6 p.m. in the evening. So I don't really know what's going on there. That doesn't really strike me as someone leading one of the biggest brands in the entire world. I don't know. But anyway, I think for a long time, investors have been very concerned about the business, about Starbucks as a business. And this is for a number of reasons. So let me just run through these quickly. And we talk about how this new CEO actually might be able to change this. And also whether now, after this massive stock increase, is a good time to be adding more or adding Starbucks stock to your portfolio. So one big thing that has been quite troubling for Starbucks, and this isn't just specific to Starbucks, this is many businesses, this happens all the time, is China pressure and general competition. Now, in markets like China, which is a really big and important market for Starbucks, Starbucks have actually encountered quite a lot of fierce competition. And these are from local coffee shops, local players. I think one is called Luckin Coffee, if I remember rightly. But they've been really trying to expand their footprint over in the Chinese market. And we've been seeing this outside of China in the European market, the US market, the Canadian market. There are other players that are constantly trying to steal market share. And this means that Starbucks are not allowed to get complacent. They can't sit back and just let the other players steal market share from them because, of course, that would not be a good business strategy. So not only has this actually affected Starbucks' market share, but it's also forced Starbucks into a corner and actually pressured them to adapt their strategies, often at the cost of maybe profitability or brand consistency that they've been building for a very long time. And maybe, and you can leave your opinions on this, the previous CEO was not doing necessarily a very strong job at driving that. Now, with the Chinese market, Starbucks are very, very much still trying to expand over there. They are, willing to expand quite aggressively. They see this as a very key market. And actually, they've had a goal for a while now of having 9,000 or so stores, 9,000 shops over there by 2025. The next one is operational and cultural shifts. Starbucks have shifted their focus, especially in the most recent few years, and they've shifted towards more of a drive-through and pick-up only location strategy because they are trying to meet customer demands. And it's very, very clear that the customer demand is now for convenience. Long gone, I suppose, are the days where you would travel and you would sit at a coffee shop for hours and you would chat to your friends or your family, or even just sit and read a book on your own. I think those days really need to come back. But nowadays, my opinions aside, people just want convenience. They want now, now, now. They want little effort. They want everything handed to them. However, because of this shift, because they're trying to meet a selected area of the market's demand, this has meant that they have had to dilute the original Starbucks experience. They've had to move away from the time with what Starbucks really was based around, the time where customers enjoyed going and actually having a community feeling space, a cozy vibe, a space to relax and socialize, grab a cup of coffee. Now, whilst this shift has probably increased profitability, it's made the service faster and maybe it's kept some people happy that they can get their coffee and their cake pops conveniently. It has also alienated and pushed away some very, very loyal customers who actually valued this whole idea of Starbucks being a third place. This is an idea that Starbucks was actually built around, a third place outside of your home, outside of your work or whatever, that you can go to, that you can feel comfortable at and enjoy the atmosphere. This has therefore led to customers feeling disconnected from the brand and actually not visiting as much, which is obviously not good for business. The next one, which I have spoken about in a previous video that Starbucks have been struggling with, is employee relations. Now, there has been a really notable increase in union organizing efforts among Starbucks employees. We've also got economic pressures. Now, if we rewind a few years and we think about the lockdowns, obviously, this caused store closures. This affected many, many businesses. This wasn't just Starbucks, but it did also affect Starbucks, of course. But even aside from the pandemic, there are always macro general economic pressures on any business. And for Starbucks, this has included very recently inflation, people being impacted in terms of the disposable income that they have. Are they actually going to spend that on a $6 cup of coffee, whatever it is? It basically, these environments for people make people less willing to spend money on a premium cup of coffee if they can source that coffee at home for a lot cheaper, or maybe at a local competitor for a lot cheaper. And this actually has been quite a notable thing for Starbucks. There's also been supply chain disruptions and, of course, the boycotting that we have been seeing across the Starbucks brand. But the question now really is, these problems have occurred. Some of them, most of them are still occurring, but we've now had this big shift in leadership, and this is so, so key. So is now a really, really good time to buy because we have this injection of a new CEO that could now drive change. He has a very, very strong track record. This could be a very, very strong catalyst. This could pump optimism back into the business and drive Starbucks' success for the future. Or is this actually not going to be the case? Of course, we can't see into the future. We don't know exactly how this new CEO is going to lead Starbucks, but we do know that, like I said, he has a strong track record. He has a really, really good background. And this track record is actually specifically within the restaurant industry. Particularly, he's very good at deploying digital strategies. He's even been called by some people the Messi of the restaurant industry. So, if anyone's going to do it, maybe he's the man. And Wall Street analysts are very, very much thinking that he will do a wonderful job. And this is exactly what the business needs to drive up the stock price in the future, because a lot of them have been changing their price targets and they have been getting way more bullish with them. But I really want to point out something important here. And that is that it takes a while for these changes to actually materialize. It is going to take a while, maybe even a few quarters, maybe even longer, for investors to actually see if this CEO is doing a good thing. It's not going to happen overnight. Even if he does a wonderful job, it's not going to show up straight away. And personally, and of course, this is not financial advice, if you are looking for an optimal entry point, I would probably wait a little bit longer. I would let the excitement settle down and actually wait. You could even wait to see the proof that Brian Niccol is doing a good job. I just wouldn't FOMO in. I think a lot of people have got very, very excited about what this means, and they're going to be adding lots of the stock. And at some point, there'll probably be a correction and maybe there's a more optimal entry point. However, if you're already bullish on Starbucks and this has just been an extra for you, and you're not really looking to time your entry points, this is a very, very much a long-term hold for you, you would have been buying anyway, maybe, then I would just continue. If you would have been buying prior to the news, I would probably just carry on with your normal strategy. Again, not financial advice. If you're someone that's had Starbucks in your portfolio before this announcement, before the stock price went up, then congratulations. You deserved it. Congratulations on buying and holding when, the stock wasn't really doing anything. The stock was going down. It was painful and you were seeing the potential. I think it's a very, very strong business. I think that the brand of Starbucks is going to hold. I do think that this is an important change that they're making. Clearly something wasn't happening. It wasn't moving in the right direction quick enough. But I think it's just going to come down to whether you're a long-term investor or you're trying to maybe do more short-term movement, short-term trades on this stock. I still think stock-wise, there's a long way to go. We see it jump up by 25% in a day and we think, wow, that's amazing. And it is great. It's reacting off of this big piece of news that the market is loving. But actually, when you zoom out, you see that the stock still has a long way to go. It is still not back to all-time highs. It's not gone over that. It's been struggling for quite a while. Like I said, it's not really moved in 5 years. So, it's up to you whether now is a good time. Obviously, it's your money, it's your decision. But do let me know what you're doing in the comments below. And let me know if you were one of those people that held Starbucks before the new CEO was announced. And drop me a comment and let me know if there are any stocks that you want me to cover in future videos. And if they're interesting, I'll definitely consider looking into them and talking about them. But until next time, keep analysing, keep investing, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button.